All right, it's time for a pre-earnings update here for SOFI. So when we look at this chart here on the overall chart, what do we see? We see this as an ABC move. Could it be a wave 3 too? Could be a wave 3 and this being a wave 4. It could be a diagonal. I'm not saying it's 100% set in stone, but I would say it's very unlikely. If we were going to get a diagonal, you'd want to see something like this, kind of barely coming into this 11 area and then going up. Instead, we drop 10 bucks or like 60% in a couple of months straight down. So I'd say the odds of this being a wave 4 are very, very slim. So what does that mean? That means that it's unlikely that this is going to be a wave 5 up. The other patterns it could be, there's a lot of them. This could be a nested move as well. This could be a wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, 4, 5. That's possible as well. That would make this overall wave 1, overall wave 2. This would be a subwave 1, subwave 2. You get the point. We'd be going way, way higher. I would say that's probably unlikely as well, though. So let's just go ahead over what this pattern was from the top. This was a double zigzag here. You have A, B, C, W, X, A, B, C, Y. Whole thing is W, X, and then you get an ABC move down here. That is Y. And I think that this is probably complete. I know I've said in previous videos we could be looking at this, but I think that that's probably very unlikely that we're just going to drop after earnings back down to 785. I would say you can pretty much eliminate that at this point. If it were going to do that, I don't think it would be an ABC move. It would actually be a W, X, Y, double X, and Z move like that. However, I think it's pretty unlikely that's going to happen. So what is this then? This should be the completion of this move right here. So this should be the completion right here. We came close to hitting the exact same length as the W wave down here to 824. We hit 861. So I think this is probably a completed move right here. This is a completed move. So we're starting a new upward move here. What do I think is the most likely from this move right here? I think that this is probably going to end up being a corrective move. Let's zoom in here and take a look at it. So this can be wave 1, wave 2, subwave 1, subwave 2, if it's going to be an impulse. And if that's the case, I'd be looking for this to hit 1345 for wave 3. It can also be ABC. In that case, the max move is going to be up here at about 14 bucks, right around that area. Which one am I leaning towards? It really depends on earnings, but I would say right now I'm leaning towards this being a C wave, and I'll tell you why. The reason being is this right here, this blue box, is a weekly supply zone. So down here, we hit into a weekly demand zone, and look what happened. We reversed hard. Now we're running into a weekly supply zone. Into earnings, we've seen this before. We've seen this movie before. We run into earnings and it sells off after earnings, regardless of how good the earnings are. So I don't really like the fact that we're running into a weekly supply zone. And so for that reason, I have to favor this being an ABC move over the 5-wave move, because if this ended up being 1, 2, 3, I would want to see it break this parallel line. That would mean that earnings are going to make this skyrocket. And we don't have the right structure here, in my opinion, at this point. The structure is a little bit lacking overall, meaning I want to see this more vertical. It's going up, but it's not at the way that I'd want to see for an impulse move going much higher. Plus, we're in weekly supply. So let me go ahead and go over smaller time frames. I think that wave 2 or B ended right here. It's kind of a tough structure, but I have this as A, B, C, B, and then this being the C wave right here for the second wave, or the B wave. And then here's the count that I have for the rest. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. And then right here we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So I am expecting a higher move on Monday. I think this can go all the way up here to about 1350. But that would actually hit a lot of the different targets that I can have for this move. Like the 1.61 fib on the regular chart is right around 1350. On the log chart, you have that's going too high. On the log chart, it says 14 bucks. So 14 bucks is possible too, but again, you're in this weekly supply zone. The two scenarios that I think are most likely are that we're in a third wave. So a sub third wave here. I should probably put some parentheses around these. 1, 2, 3. Pull back 4, and then get a fifth wave, probably all the way up here to 16 bucks for the third wave. Or this is a C wave. So if it ends right here, that could be the top. This could be the top at earnings, or the second possibility is we back off down here to this daily demand zone here at 1145 to 1078, and then from there we get 5 waves up. And we fill this gap here at 16 bucks. Why does that one make sense? Let's take the length of 1350. Is this the regular chart? No. It doesn't exactly hit it, but it comes pretty close to hitting 16 bucks if we were to come back down here to 1150 to 1080, around in that area. So I think that this one makes a lot of sense, or we topped out. Those are the two scenarios I'm leaning towards the most. The impulse will be pretty obvious. If we get the impulse, it's going to be earnings are great, we skyrocket, we go up here past 1410, we clear all moving averages, and we just start moving straight to 16 bucks right away. If that doesn't happen, then you're looking at one of these scenarios. You're looking at this being an overall ABC move like that, or you're looking at this being the top. And if that's the top, then we're looking at the next wave down, which probably would just come down to 785. I don't think we're going to go all the way down to six bucks, but 785 would be my target on that next move down, unless the overall market just fell off a cliff. So putting that all together, you're in weekly supply. Those are the two scenarios that make the most sense. You have ABC up here, pull back to this red box, and then up to 16 bucks, or this is the top and we head down. How could that be the top, you ask? Because we've already retraced past the 0.5 fib. That's enough of a retracement, and we're in weekly supply. So going up here to 16 bucks is actually being pretty generous, regardless of earnings, because that's going to be a retracement all the way past the 0.78 fib. But it's definitely possible too. It's definitely possible that we get something like this up here to 16 bucks, and then we have a flat back down here to 8 bucks, or maybe down here to the 785 gap. So yeah, watch this weekly supply zone that ends at 1391, started at 1170. This should be hard resistance. So that's why I'm leaning towards the pullback here to this red box rather than just blasting off. As far as moving averages go, there's only one moving average that we have not crossed on the daily. That is the 100-day, and then on the weekly, the 20. So both of those moving averages, if we are able to get above that, then I would say there's a good chance that we're in an impulse move, and we are on our way much higher. So earnings is going to be very telling. I can't tell you what's going to happen. I can just give you the probabilities, and I said the probabilities are that we're going to top out in this area and at least pull back here and potentially go to new lows or up here to 16 bucks. That's the number one scenario I have laid out based on everything. Because again, even on the weekly chart, if you look at this move down from the top, it actually looks like 5 waves. Like you can look at this and it looks like 5 waves. Like that. So that's pretty much all I got to say on it right now. You're in a weekly supply zone. I'm thinking 1350, pull back here to the red box, and then move up to 16 makes the most sense. But you also got to take into account SPY here, just for a gauge of the overall market. This is about to hit the weekly supply zone as well. They're basically in the same spot. SPY is a little bit behind. But in this area, that's a sell on SPY as well. So what you want to see on the overall market is you want to see SPY get above all these moving averages. It really needs to hit like 5. Needs to hit. For me to be comfortable saying this is an impulse move, it needs to get above 585. Above 585, and I would say, okay, we're probably in an impulse, and then SOFI should be blasting off too. But the number one scenario on SPY too is to pull back from here. So I would say, again, that just verifies what I'm saying on SOFI. It's probably going to be a pullback here. And you're probably not going to get that blast off unless SPY does. So that's the update for now. Let's see what happens on Tuesday. Maybe I'll do an update Monday night. But that's all I got to say for now. Looking for this pattern to be the number one scenario. Second scenario is we just go down to new lows. But if it does just blast off on earnings, I'm not going to be stubborn and say this is not an impulse, because if it breaks above 1410 right away, then it probably is an impulse. So that's it for this update. Leave me a comment, like, subscribe for more updates, and I'll catch you in the next video.